Oh, boy. New York Times review of books. It's for your own good. Cass Sunstein has reviewed a book by Sarah Connolly. The name of the book is Against Autonomy, Justifying Coercive Paternalism.
Mm-hmm.
Could you look up coercion, Stu? Let's get the dictionary definition of paternalism. Of coercion. Jeffy, could you look up autonomy for me? And Pat, will you look up paternalism real quick? Let's see if you need to go past the title of this book. Okay, you have autonomy? Who was autonomy? That was Pat?
That was
Jeffy.
Jeffy.
You have it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, against autonomy. Let's see if you're against this. Define it.
The quality state of being self-governing.
Okay.
So I'm
Self-directing
against
freedom.
I'm against freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm against self-governance.
Well, think about it. Who wants to govern themselves? You want others telling you what to do.
We have other
Am I
jobs.
right?
I can't be a government, too.
Yeah, I can't do it.
All right.
Especially moral independence.
Moral independence.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm against moral independence.
Somebody needs to tell you how you feel about things.
Stu, do you have coercion?
I do. The act of compelling by force or authority.
Okay.
That's what I like.
All right.
That's fun.
And
See,
paternalism.
Paternalism, the system, principle, or practice of managing or governing individuals, businesses, nations, etc., in the manner of a father dealing benevolently and often intrusively with his children.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what they're saying is what they're saying is we're against. Let me redefine. Here's the actual title of this book: Against Autonomy, Justifying Coercive Paternalism. So let me use the dictionary terms here. We're against self-governance and freedom. I want to justify forcing you. Give me the coercive again, because there was another word in there.
Compelling by force.
I want to compel you by force because I'm your dad and I'm going to be intrusive in your life.
Well, I know better than you. You're not smart enough to govern yourself.
I mean, This is incredible.
Wow. This is also incredible. I don't know if you hadn't gotten to this yet or you're about to, but where the article says if Sunstein does care to refute the notion propagated by commentators like Glenn Beck that he wants to pull the strings of people's lives like a puppet master, then his most recent book review in the New York Review of Books certainly doesn't show it.
No, I don't have that one.
They admit you're right. They come right out and say.
Who is saying that?
Oh, and by the way, Glenn Beck is right. But they don't say it in those words, but that's what they're saying here.
Who's writing that? What organization wrote that?
I'm not sure if that came from the Times.
No, because I have the Times article.
And it doesn't say that?
Yeah, so I have Cass Sunstein's article, and you just have to listen to it. We're just I just took some of the highlights from it. The United States, he talks about John Stuart Mill's On Liberty. And he says the United States is facing a series of serious disputes about the boundaries of paternalism. The most obvious example is the individual mandate in the Affordable Care Act, upheld by the Supreme Court by a 5-4 vote, but still opposed by many critics who seek to portray it as a form of unacceptable paternalism. Now listen, this is amazing. The individual mandate. What is the individual mandate? This is such progressivism. It's hysterical. The individual mandate is you have to be a part of this collective. Isn't that amazing? Okay. Mill insists that the individual is the person most interested in his own well-being. Think of this statement. Mill insists that the person most interested in his own well-being is that person. Oh. Mill's claim has intuitive appeal. But is it right? Yes. Yes. Many believe that behavioral findings are cutting away at some of the foundations of Mill's harm principle because they show that people make a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes can prove to be damaging. Let me tell you something. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and this is where we've gone astray. We've made mistakes. That's part of life. No one is perfect. You'll make mistakes. But because mistakes have natural consequences, you either learn from those mistakes or you perish. For instance, if I hadn't learned from my alcoholism, I would end up like, who's the woman that was a country star that just passed
Mindy
away?
McCready.
Mindy McCready. Mm-hmm. I would end up like that. She couldn't learn from her mistakes. I did. And because of my mistakes, and because I learned from them, I'm better for them. I'm better off for them. Because I learned from them. I just had a conversation. I was at this thing with Tim Tebow on Monday. And we were talking backstage, a group of us. And I said, look, somebody asked me to share my testimony or something backstage with this group of people. And so I said, look, I hate to say this, and I never would say this to my kids because people take this as a ticket to do wrong. But I needed the atonement. I needed it. I needed forgiveness. And so I appreciate forgiveness probably better than most people do because I needed that forgiveness so much. Well, I got that. I got that from mistakes. Now let's take it out of the personal and let's go to the business world. Do you think anybody's going to learn from their mistakes at the banks? You think anybody who is being bailed out by the federal government?
No, there were no consequences.
Do you think that GE is a healthier company today that they've learned from their? No, not at all. Mistakes are essential. It's what we were sent here for. To learn from mistakes and then be able to get better and stronger and learn how to wield power. That's why we're here. Many believe that behavioral findings are cutting away some of the foundations of Mill's harm principle because they show that people make a lot of mistakes and those mistakes can prove to be extremely damaging. Yes. For example, many of us show present bias. We tend to focus on today and neglect tomorrow. Present bias.
Good thing the government doesn't do that.
I know. Present bias can ensure serious long-term harm. So in other words, the government doesn't have present bias. They are not spending today and not worrying about tomorrow or the future. Sure, we're $150 trillion in debt of the things that we promise for tomorrow. But that's not because they have present bias. Don't worry about tomorrow. No. Cass Sunstein knows better, that we only get the very best in government. Every single one of us can look at the federal government right now and say they have present bias. They are only worrying about today, and they're not worrying about the consequences of tomorrow. But that's those of us who don't really understand people like Cass Sunstein, that don't really understand. For those who really think that they are reacting to gun control because of Sandy Hook, those people who really think that this is a reaction because of that, they think that they might have present bias. I contend that they don't have present bias. They know exactly what's coming. They know there is a serious meltdown of the entire world coming. And so they are taking those guns, not because of Sandy Hook. They count on you being stupid and having present bias. They count on you. They encourage you to have present bias. They encourage you to say, don't worry about it. We can spend and don't worry about it. It's not a problem. They're encouraging you to live for today. Go out and spend. Help the economy. Well, they don't. They are laying their plans against us, quite honestly, against man's freedom. They are building and currently justifying amongst the elites, justifying a world without autonomy. They don't have present bias. They know exactly what they're building. They're building the world of tomorrow, and they're telling you to live, drink, and be merry today. He goes on, if people are unrealistically optimistic, they may decline to make sensible precautions against real risks. Would anybody say it's a risk, a real risk, not guaranteed, but a real risk that the United States of America could have its economy collapse? I'm not saying wiped out. I'm saying a 45% decrease in the stock market and a 50% decrease in your savings and the dollar's value. Is that a real risk?
It just happened. I mean, it was more than 45% drop in the stock market from its peak to 6,200, I think it was.
And yet, no one, whenever you say, hey, listen, here's what you need to do. You need to take sensible precautions. Sensible precautions. Consider that you might be unemployed. Consider that. Consider that your dollar may be of less value. And don't take all of your money and put it in gold, but spread your risk around. Have some in stocks, have some in bonds, have some liquid, and have some in gold. Have some in food. Those are sensible precautions. As the government is cutting spending, as the president is out saying that this government is going to collapse because we have internal enemies that want to have sequester. And so it was his suggestion. Because they want sequester, we're going to have to cut the cops. Now, a sensible precaution would be, so I urge you to take sensible precautions. If you're the type of person that is comfortable with a gun, go get more training. Work together with your neighbors, because we've already seen it in New Jersey. They cut the entire force. City after city. In California, the chief of police came out and said, we're not going to be able to respond to every call. You're going to have to buy a gun. In Illinois, they're saying we can't respond to burglary calls on 911. That means somebody is in your house, burglarizing your house. We're not going to be able to respond to that because we have other priorities and we're short-staffed. A sensible precaution would not be to ban all guns from people. A sensible precaution would to say, sensibly, logically, if you're comfortable with a gun, go do the right thing and go buy a gun or go get training, retrain for a gun. Make sure you can defend yourself. Talk to your family. Make sure because the police are going to be busy on other things. That's a sensible precaution. But because they are justifying a world without autonomy, they have to take away your guns. This paper reveals what they're doing. Many people have been arguing for a new form of paternalism. Yes, mainly those in academia and government. One that preserves freedom of choice. Listen to this. But also steers its citizens in directions that will make their lives go better by their own lights.
That's Nudge. That's Sunstein's first book, which is why he's somewhat well known.
Okay, so he says that's really just a choice architecture. A phrase that refers to the design of grocery stores, for example, so that the fresh vegetables are prominent in the order in which items are listed in a restaurant menu, and visible official warnings, public education campaigns, a layout of websites, a range of other influences on people's choices. That used to be called propaganda. Government propaganda. He says coercion should not be ruled out of bounds. Exactly what is coercion again?
Oh, coercion.
What is that again?
It is to compel by force of authority.
compel by force of authority. Let me tell you something. I stand by the fact that I said several years ago, Cass Sunstein is the most dangerous man in America because the Republicans and the Democrats like him. I remember talking to Orrin Hatch, who voted for him, and he says, Glenn, that was academia. You're not that stupid, Orrin. You're not that stupid. People in the Republican Party like his choice structure because it gives them more power. If you believe in people, you don't do this. I happen to believe in people, but people will get weaker the more you expect them to be weak. The less you expect them to do, the more dumb you expect them to be, the easier you make their life, the more you take away any consequences from any of their actions, they will become everything that you say they are. Dumb, weak, pathetic, and unable to make a choice. The problem with our country is that the people with power believe that's exactly who you are, and you are allowing them to do it by taking the easy way, by taking and believing in choice structure, by not demanding that choice structure stops. They're not demanding that we have a right. Instead, we demand that somebody takes care of us. Somebody gives us health care. Well, if you're going to make somebody else pay for your bad choices and your bad living, well, then there's only one way to do it. We have to stop you from making bad choices because I have to pay for your heart attack. You want to pay for your heart attack? Great. But why should I have to pay for your heart attack? Everybody will say when California slides off the cliff, the financial cliff, why should I have to pay for Californians? That was their choice. And if we all have to pay for California, then I guess we all have to be involved in California's decisions. No, let California make their own decisions. They're different people. They want to live a different way. Let them. If they fail, they fail. They'll learn. Unless we all gather together and bail them out, then they won't learn, and eventually we'll all burn down together.